Hello, welcome to Mental Health. I'm Greg Jordan, your presenter, and my special guest today, Joey Vander from the Fireballs, and we're going to talk about mental health and what good mental health means to Joey and a few other things as well. So welcome, Joey. Thanks for coming along, mate.
No worries.
Good to see you. And we're just talking a little bit about your bass playing, because you're playing the upright bass, of course, and I was going to read a quote that we just spoke about off Fireballs Facebook page, and I really like this. So have a listen to this, listeners. This is a quote from Joe. When was this? Do you remember when you said this?
Well, it was probably about 4 years ago.
4 years ago, okay. This is a quote from the Fireballs Facebook page. "The problem with kids today is they think the bass is slung around your neck. That's not a bass, mate. That's a fucking guitar. Real bass shakes your balls. I want to see dudes work out how to get power from an acoustic instrument when it's between Eddie Fury and two Marshall stacks." So that's the thing, because you're playing with an electric band. You've got two guitar players each side of you, and with Marshall stacks, and you're playing an acoustic bass, really. Which is obviously you got a pickup in there somewhere, have you, and stuff.
Piazzo pickup.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I've seen you play too. It's very, very physical. And how do you? Well, can you hear yourself for a start? Are you sort of? But how do you go with your? And how do you go with your technique? Does that affect your technique? Do you have to hit it harder to be heard, or you got all that worked out? You're pretty.
It works like that.
Yeah.
You will have to strum a bit harder if things are too loud.
Yeah.
We try and make it efficient, but you still got to work at it.
Yeah.
Because rooms are different.
Yeah.
So it changes the acoustic instrument. So you do have to hit a bit harder sometimes and push it a bit.
Yeah. So how's it go with your with the maintenance of the bass? I mean, do you change strings sort of frequently, that kind of thing? Do you breaking a few, or you?
I don't break them, but they do dull out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depends how much you're playing, I suppose. If you're doing a 6-week tour, you're going to have to change a couple of times.
Yeah.
Through it.
In boiling water, mate, to keep them extra.
I've been through that. Yeah, been through that. But that trick. That's when they'll break eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they soak up and they just rot on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff, mate. Now, what around mental health, I suppose, good mental health. What motivates you? What would you say motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
People, and working towards getting to travel and see the world.
Yeah.
Basically, for me, I like seeing the world and going to different places and meeting different kinds of people that especially that are into what we do as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So and with that comes all the good things, like in the sense of you get to try different foods.
Yeah.
See different housing, how people live, different climates, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And where have you been? Where have your travels taken you?
Been to a few places. Been to Japan, been to Amsterdam, to Spain, around this country too many times.
Yeah.
But So been getting around a bit. Yeah.
Nice, mate. Travel's great, isn't it?
It is.
Broadens the horizons in many ways. So I remember as a younger fellow when I went overseas, and I remember sitting in a squad in London, sort of thinking about where I was going to go in the future and who I am and everything. I just found a kind of a clearer perspective when I was actually out of my hometown of Melbourne, out of Australia, away from friends and that comfort zone, I suppose, and supports. And just me, and sort of like, who am I? Where am I going? It was pretty clear. It gave me a bit of it's almost like you're kind of above floating on top of your own self in your own little world, I found anyway.
Yeah.
And but I'm a little bit out there, Joey, sometimes. If you're getting this, but listener, but yeah, it's I just found travel to be just a great thing. I highly recommend it.
I find it tests yourself because you're on your own. So you're just relying on yourself. So when you're doing it, I I find it like when I do return from a tour or from a holiday from another country, I do find that, wow, that was just me on my own. I can do this stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of just gives you another sense that you can do something else, in the sense of you don't have to be scared.
Yeah.
You can just, it's there for the taking. Go and do it. Because it's an experience, basically. You meet all different kinds.
It's a great attitude, I think, mate. I think don't be scared of it and get out there and just...
It's so important, I think, to just get out of the comfort zone and test yourself, basically.
It's interesting with the comfort zones and how a lot of us can be, I suppose, especially around mental health issues or sometimes substance, abuse issues, which I know a few of us as musicians have gone through, and some of us still are. But I know sometimes you've got to get uncomfortable for any kind of change, quite often anyway, because it's very new to us. I can only speak for myself, I suppose, at the moment, but I know getting uncomfortable is part of growing sometimes, and so getting out of that comfort zone is a good thing.
It is.
It can be scary, but I think I prefer to look at it as exciting.
Totally.
Rather than scary, but yeah, good stuff, Joey. Yeah. So, speaking of travel, life on the road with the band, how do you kind of adjust when you come off tour? Like you've been you're having a great time, and we know that a band almost is a law unto itself in some ways. When we're travelling, because you've got the gigs are lined up, people want to see you. Quite often the local venue will be behind you, the promoters, and you'll have people coming out and meeting you and greeting you, and it's all positive, and they're there to see you and be a part of it, and it's a great thing, and playing to whether it be 20 people or 200 or 20,000, whatever it might be, it's just a great lifestyle and a great high. Then you come back to back home, which sometimes can be a great thing if you've been touring for a long time. You might, some people just really appreciate that rest, but I'm more interested in the highs, obviously the highs of touring and performing, and in front of all those people, and just everyone saying, "Oh, great, we loved it, man, fantastic." And you think, "Wow, this is pretty cool," and sometimes I'm even getting paid for it. Wow, this is great. But you're seeing the sights, in the food and stuff. Come back to Melbourne. How do you feel? How do you come back to?
It takes a little while
Yeah.
to come back. Well, it is a high. It is a high touring and doing that stuff. So, yeah, coming back can get down because you've been so busy just following a schedule and communicating and partying. Come back to hometown and no one's there. Basically, it's all gone. So it's a sudden stop. It's like hitting a wall, and that can be tricky. The last time I went, actually, last tour I did when I went to Spain, and I got back. It took me nearly 8 months to get back into a routine.
Yeah, right.
Just couldn't find myself because it wasn't what I wanted to do. Really, I didn't want to just go back to work. I wanted to stay on that high. I got caught up.
Yep.
So I had to work it out, basically. I had to work out how I was going to get myself motivated again and get back into it. So my thought process was, okay, you've done this, you conquered it, you can do it, go back to work, eat good, sleep, and try it all again. And that's what I kind of do now. It's like when I finish a tour, come back, just try and get back straight into what I was doing before that, like as an occupation. I find that once I get back into that routine, everything settles. It gives me an idea of money, and I can start dreaming again and planning my next adventure.
Yeah, okay. That's good. That's a positive way to look at it. I think it's interesting when you said before when you come back from Spain, it took you about 8 months before you kind of I suppose, before you sort of get your head around sort of what you're doing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of like you don't want to really get off that buzz that you're on. You know, you don't want it to end there, and you're looking for the next kick.
Yep.
But it's not there.
Yeah.
So you got to find it again. You got to bring that out of yourself.
I found in a similar situation coming off tour of Europe, come back to sort of to nothing. I wasn't doing a day job, it was just music, and I remember having a duo sort of gig kind of lined up with this someone I just recently met before this little tour. I was asked to do a bit of a tour with the Tats to fill in for Pete, who wasn't too well. This was 2002, and it was having this little duo sort of thing where I sort of got to go away for a little while, and yeah, no worries, we'll see when you get back. So I came back and thinking, you know, it's a Wacken Festival and stuff, and all these gigs in Switzerland and England and stuff, and it was fantastic and big crowds and that, and great buzz, and you're doing what you love, and you're playing there, and it's just fantastic and great sounds and Marshall Stacks, and it's just glorious, you know, and travel and all that, and come back and you sort of think, oh, okay, I'm going to go and play this little duo. So I rang up and said, look, I'm not really into this, sorry, I cancelled that. But I actually found that for a while there I was actually pretty depressed. I thought, bloody hell, you know, I found it difficult to lift myself and to make something happen, so I'd come off that little high.
Yep.
But I worked it out eventually. But I found I got sort of getting me kicks elsewhere.
Okay.
Various substances and alcohol in particular, and just kind of numbing out that my reality at that time. But what I didn't do was actually make something happen for myself. So I eventually did that.
Yeah.
But that was the solution for me to actually, okay, well, come on, mate, make something happen. It's not going to fall on your lap, sort of thing. Put a band together, do something, you know, get moving. Which, yeah, but anyway, it can be that's why I asked you that question. I was interested to hear your answer about coming off the road, because I know that some people it's pretty tough.
It is. I think it is. It's a hard one. Because it's just that constant movement all the time, and then it's not there. You're not moving anymore.
Yep.
And that's the one I find that's the hardest.
Yeah.
I've got time now. Before I didn't have time. Now I've got time, and that can create overthinking. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I do watch out for, is not to try and overthink these days.
Yep.
Just hey, look, it's there. We can do it. Let's just go and get it.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. So the next question, I think you've probably answered this one, Joey, but are you a positive thinker? So it sounded like you had some pretty positive statements to make just now. But are you a positive thinker generally, and how do you keep positive?
Well, I try and stay positive. I do get my days,
Yep.
Where, you know, that grey cloud comes on, but yeah, I try and stay positive. Because at the end, I think in the sense of, look, we play music. I don't do it as a solo artist. I do it with a bunch of guys, and that's a good thing. I'm always happy to see those guys. It becomes a family. So just to be with those guys is a high. So that keeps me pretty positive. But also, the positive thing for me is that I'm lucky to have this talent to play music and get to see the world. So that's the reward for me, is that I'm lucky to have that talent, to have that gift to play.
Yeah.
So that keeps me positive.
Yeah.
It's something that, you know, that unless you're playing music, it'd be hard to understand. But because we do it, and we do these things, these crazy tours, just keeps me high, keeps me happy and positive.
You got to love it, I think, to go through all the
Oh, that's right.
the travel and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Sure.
You do.
Yeah.
It's not a money thing, you know. It's not a money thing. It's more the heart. It's what you want to do.
And for me, playing, you know, it's connection.
Totally.
Connection with an audience, and also with if you're in a band with you know, if you're not solo, if you're with your other band members as well, and just a great like a family, you know, and you share experiences that no one else does, that only you guys know about, It's just a connection with the audiences. It's a moment in time, and you would have had this too. People come up to you and they just say, "Man, I really enjoyed the night," or "I enjoyed that particular song that you guys played." Maybe I'll never forget it, or it means a lot to me if you've recorded the tune that someone's come along to hear you play, and that may happen to, as a muso, it might happen to a band sort of every night on tour. Some of them in a different city will go, "Man, that song means so much to me. That's great," and I think it's important we don't take that for granted, because it means so much to that person who may have seen you just once a year. It's a big night for them. You've come to town. They like a particular album, or they just love the band, or whatever, or there might be a song they're just dying to hear. It means a hell of a lot to them for whatever reason. And I think as musos sometimes we can. I know I've sort of taken those little things for granted a bit about the connection you have with people at a gig.
Yeah.
Someone will come and go, "Man, I just love your guitar playing," or "I love that song you did." You might think, "Oh yeah, well, thanks a lot, thanks very much," but not think anything about it. But I think it is a gift, and it's just something to really be appreciative of. And to be, I certainly don't. I don't complain or moan anymore.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to complain about, man. It doesn't matter if I've got $1 in my pocket or nothing in my pocket. I mean, wow, you can play an instrument. I think it's pretty special, and it's something that's not to be taken for granted.
Totally.
Yeah, a lot of gratitude for that. So.
Yeah, look, and the other thing is, like, with your fans, like meeting, like you're saying, meeting different people who really get into what you're doing. You can't take that for granted. You're only as big as your fans at the end of the day, so they're part of it just as much as the instrument. So without them people, you're really not doing nothing. So you got to look after your fan base, and they're the ones that give you the real feedback, in the sense of, yeah, you are doing the right things. You're not playing to make money. You're playing to play for the people.
Yep.
And playing for yourself, of course. So yeah, I look at it in that way, where you're only as big as your fan base, and you've got to love your fans.
You do, and it's about being. What I see anyway, it's about being human. It's a connection. There's nothing fake about it. There's nothing fake about that connection between someone coming to see the Fireballs and you play, and actually they know the band. They're there to see the band, and they know roughly what's going to come and whatever. There's nothing. That's just pure joy. It's a real connection. It's a very special connection. It's a room full of people who are just all on the same vibe.
That's
isn't it? It's pretty special. It's just a pretty amazing thing, really, when you break it down. When I break it down, I look at it that way. It's pretty special.
It is. It's total pure energy. It's pure energy. You feel it. You can't help it. You walk into the room and there's that kind of energy. You're automatically on it. You got that buzz. You got that. It fills you up.
And it's great. Good for our mental health. I reckon, Joey, and a lot of people, use us included, I'm sure. I know for me, it's a therapy. It's just something that I need to do and love to do. And I know a lot of people, listeners, who may not be able to play an instrument. Doesn't matter. They still get a lot of enjoyment and meaning out of listening to music. And it's just a great thing. It's a great thing to be a part of.
Totally is.
I'd like to talk for hours.
Yeah, we can.
Cool. So, what does good mental health mean for you? Which of these questions probably tie into each other. But,
well, it's good mental health for me is being able to get up in the morning and function. Basically, do the things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. That's good mental health. For me, just being able to function and do the things I want to do. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time in the sense of a money situation, but being able to get up in the morning and go out and do whatever I got to do for the day, that's the important part. Because if I don't do that, well, it ain't going to be good.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's what I believe. Good mental. Look, it's not just a mind thing either. It's a physical thing too. You got to look after yourself if you're doing this stuff too. You can get caught into all those traps, as we know, like through the abuse. because it's always put in your face. That's the other thing about being a musician and doing these things is your fans want to get high with you.
Our workplace is a party area, it's a bar, you know.
That's right, it's a party.
Yeah, it's a party, you know, and that's exactly right. That's a good point. So on tour, how do you keep yourself? I mean, I suppose you've got to kind of keep an eye on that party, or do you?
You do.
You know, like for the physical aspect of actually turning up, and also mentally, I suppose, just for your whole being able to perform at the level you want to perform at the next night. I mean,
That's right. That's what's important.
you've got to kind of, I imagine, you sort of just take it easy a little bit and kind of pace yourself, wouldn't you?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally into it. You know, look how far you want to go with it. My thing is, what's important on that level is that I can't forget what I'm there for. I'm not there. I'm not there to party and drink alcohol and smoke and do all those things. I'm there to play my bass and function with the guys I'm working with. Because that's what I find that can happen is that you can get lost in the partying, which will sacrifice the gigs.
Yep.
And no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm there for the opposite side. I'm there to play and get into it with my fans and do those things. So yeah. But on that topic as well is how can you put it? What was it in the question?
Yeah, what does good mental health mean for you?
Yeah, it's been really for me. It's being one step ahead of the game. Knowing that, look, if I do this, it's going to be this reaction. So it's just staying on top of it and seeing what's coming. You know, not getting caught into temptation. And the other one is like, look, I get a lot of questions while playing my jocks, right? And that's, you know, like I had to do a grading basically, Jordan. I had to do it to get my I had to get some certificate for something, and I had to sit an exam. And part of the exam was to show them part of my performance. And when I was going through it and I was showing it, they're going, "Why are you playing in your jocks? You know, people don't want to see this." Yeah. And I'm going, well, it's not really about that. If you do 6 weeks of touring, one night after the other, you can't, for starters, we know touring, you can't take a lot of baggage with you. You've got to travel a lot. So you've got probably 2 sets of clothes.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was finding in the early days is, okay, you go and play these crazy gigs, but you're all soaked up in sweat. As soon as you open that door, you're going to catch a cold. And I was constantly being sick.
Yep.
So I had to work out a way not to get sick.
Yeah.
And that wasn't wearing wet clothes anymore.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I just went, look, I'm sweating that much. I'm just going to play my jocks.
Yeah.
It pays off.
Yeah.
It keeps me healthy.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it. It's not a gimmick. It's
Yeah, I didn't know that. That makes a lot of sense.
it's more about staying healthy.
Yeah.
Because if you're physically not there, you're mentally not going to be there.
Yep.
So that's what's important.
Yeah, definitely. And who gives a bugger anyway? I mean, the audience might sort of, maybe the first time we did it, maybe people going, "Oh, you're very nice," you know. But I mean, after probably a song, let's get in the music, man.
That's it.
Doesn't matter, does it? You know,
That's
it's not,
right.
Not
That's
an issue
right.
at all. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you also on that, keeping it together and ahead of the game kind of thing, with partying on the road. Was there a time earlier when you were sort of, like years before, when you did maybe sort of not do that as much, or party a bit too much and sort of started thinking, "Oh, hang on, I better just
I have been through
ease
that.
up a little bit,"
Yep, I have been through that.
that sort of thing?
Partying too much can also let down the guys.
So that led you to the conclusion of, what am I here? Why am I here?
That's right.
What's my role here? What's my purpose?
Yep,
Yeah.
totally. And like that with the other guys in the band. Yeah. We all have it. We've all had that point where we all love partying. And some of us go off the rails. But then that's when you got to pull it all up and realise what you're there for. And we all understand that now.
Yeah.
It took a little while, but
Yep.
we got there.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you're still with us, mate. And you're still rocking out. So it's fantastic. So yeah, are there any sort of I suppose maybe even on that or whatever, any tough times that you've been through, in the past at all, or at any stage that you want to talk about, or you want to share or anything?
Yeah, look, I've had my dark days. There's probably more to come, but
Yeah.
I've had them. I've had them through through band breakups. Losing really good friends, family members leaving us.
Yeah.
I've had that, and look, they're not good things. They will, that dark cloud comes along. You just got to, that's life.
Yeah.
You got to wear it. We all got that story, I think.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
It's not easy. It's not an easy one, and that's where I believe having a good bunch of people around you can bring you out of that stuff, because life isn't over there. We've still got our mission to do.
Yep.
We're here for a reason. I don't know what the reason is. I suppose that's what we're here for, to find out. But everybody's here for something.
Yep.
So I think it's really important to, make sure you're around clear-headed people as well, because when that dark cloud is on and you're not thinking right, sometimes you can't see the light.
Yep.
And maybe a friend or a song can bring you out of that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like we were talking a bit earlier about depression and stuff. It doesn't always have to be something that might be sort of a chemical kind of, imbalance in the brain. It can be sort of situational too. Well, someone leaves us, a family member, or a band breakup or something. So that kind of it happens to all of us, to the best of us. So how do we kind of deal with that? And it is life, isn't it? Life goes on.
It does.
But having good people around you, I think, is very important.
Totally. Look, I've had a close member, a close friend of mine. He had manic depression, and to try and work it out, that was like, for the first time, that was out of control. It just, we didn't know where it was coming from. And look, he did 9 months in a bedroom. He didn't want to come out. So the way we tackled it was, we went and got some friends. We bring him around. We didn't give him the choice of, it's probably not the smartest move, but you got to try things sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
We got our friends and we got him to hang around and party up with him, just make conversation, which broke the cycle.
Yep.
And he eventually came out.
Yeah.
So I think it's, just at the end, it's having positive feedback and having positive people around you. It's really important.
Can help get you out of yourself a little bit too, and almost a bit of a positive distraction in some ways of getting out of your own little headspace, whatever that might be, and sort of interacting with other people.
Totally, because time on your own, you can end up thinking too much.
You do your head right in, man, with a lot of unreal sort of thoughts, and it can just snowball a bit and become a larger issue than what it actually is sometimes.
Totally.
And then if you add sort of substances, say like alcohol with it, which is a depressant, or other opiates, which are depressants, you can even sort of expand even more the illusion.
True.
The things that are really stuffed, and that's when you're really behind the eight ball, and that can become pretty dangerous. So, good to have good people around and to get some support and work it out, because people do live meaningful lives with, say, depression or other mental health issues, anxiety, panic stuff, schizophrenia. People do live meaningful lives, and they work out eventually, if they keep at it, keep chipping away at it, and work out some kind of balanced kind of treatment, which may include a bit of medication, it may not. Could be exercise, could just be being around good people and trying to stay positive, doing stuff that you love to do, which in our case is music.
Yep.
And for the listener here would be music as well, you know, listening to it or making music, and I think it's just that's a great thing. But that's great stuff, Joe. Yeah, I think you're hit the nail on the head there. So we're going to wind things up, mate. Won't be too long. We'll just a couple of little things to finish. So this again just ties in once more with this question. Is there anything you'd like to say toward the end to anybody who's struggling out there? Anybody who might be doing it a bit tough in whatever way, you know?
Yeah, there is. Look, I believe in mental health. It's only a sickness. It's nothing major. It's not like it's the same as being an asthmatic. If you take the right things, you look after it, you'll function fine. It's not a disability. If anything, I find that they're more eccentric and they're really arty, and I actually like hanging around it because it gives me a creative side.
Yep.
To think out of the box.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't fear it. I just look after it. It's kind of like a baby, actually, where sometimes I actually need that craziness.
Yep.
To give me a kick.
You don't lose it.
You don't want to lose it. You don't.
That sort of, you don't want to be, I mean, of that kind of, I suppose, that, when you're a baby, that sort of little kid that sort of been a bit maybe scared to get too out there. That's probably a little different to the more serious mental health issues. But I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you want to...
As a musician, we're not trying to stay in the box. We're trying to keep pushing the barrier.
Yeah.
So, look, I only can speak as through who I know. I got one guy he's had mental health. He's fine. He functions fine, but he's a real inspiration to me because some of the things that come out of his mouth, I wouldn't think of these things.
Yeah.
And it just gives me another side to my creative side, and I really like that. That keeps me going to get different conversation on it. It just inspires me.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you got coming up musically for yourself? You got a solo sort of bass whacker album coming out? You ever thought of?
Oh, I do a little bit of that. I do. I worked with a synth player and a computer programmer a few years ago, and it was kind of really testing. It was like we don't know each other, so basically just you go into a room and you play whatever you want to play. There's no format, and let it flow. But what happened with that is I got to put on a heap of effects on my bass, which took me right out of the comfort zone. And it was probably the best session I ever did in my life.
Yeah.
Because an upright with lots of effects, that's a different world.
Yeah.
So I do a bit of that. I've got a tour coming up in 2 weeks' time at the end of the month. I'm going on tour with Evil Elvis from Canada. We'll go around the country, and then it's back to the Fireballs.
Yeah.
So I'm going down to Tassie in November.
Yeah, that's right. Is it the 8th of November you're in Tassie?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We haven't been down there for a while, so that'll be good. Yeah, and then we'll finish up on New Year's.
Yep.
In Melbourne.
So okay, so you're just trying to line that up, aren't you?
Yep. It's coming through. Just sorting it out now.
Cool, mate. And that's beautiful. I was going to say today's date. I didn't mention at the beginning. It's the 14th of October, 2014. At the moment. So look, anything else you want to add, Joey? Before we wrap it up? Anything you want to say?
Oh, not too much. Look, I think mental health, just try and stay positive. Don't listen to negativity. You don't need to. It's there for the taking. And there's no rules. There's no rules. There's no rules in any of this. So whatever you're comfortable with, just do it. Don't have to worry about what anyone thinks. Don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you comfortable. Of course, don't hurt anyone or any of that stuff or yourself, but just do it.
Fantastic, Joey. Well, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure talking with you, mate, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
No worries, Jordan. No worries,
Good to
mate.
see you again, mate.
It is.
Mr. Joey Phantom from the Fireballs. So we'll see you next time.
See ya.